When it comes to playing Gen 1 or Gen 2 Pokemon games, there's always a trade-off depending on the format. Cartridge has some really strong advantages, like being able to access hundreds of hours worth of post-game content in the form of connecting to Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, not to mention all the quality of life features Stadium 2 has to offer, being compatible with the GameBoy printer, and getting to play on original hardware. But if you want to play on cart, you miss out on the Virtual Console exclusive content like the reinstated original Celebi event and getting to move your Pokemon up to Gen 7 and 8. How do you get the full Kanto or Johto experience when you have to pick between one or the other? But what if you can have your cake and eat it too? What if you can play on cart, complete Pokemon Stadium, and then move your save file up to the Virtual Console and transfer your Pokemon up? Well, it turns out it's surprisingly easy to do just that. In fact, I did do just that, and today I'm going to show you how. To begin with, a lot of people are still somehow confused as to how I'm able to play Pokemon Crystal on cart in 2020. And if you didn't already know, you can just open the cartridge up with a cheap and easy to come by security bit and change the save battery. There are many ways to do this, and there are a lot of tutorials on how to do it on YouTube if you just look it up, so I won't go into too much detail here. In my experience, electrical tape is usually really unreliable compared to soldering, and soldering is typically actually safer for both you and the game you're working on, so that's the method I recommend following. If you're going to solder, just make sure you take necessary precautions and wear protective goggles if you're going to be working with heat near lithium batteries. But buying pre-tabbed batteries also takes a lot of the risk out of it. I replaced the battery in this crystal before I owned a soldering iron, so I just popped off the tabs with a screwdriver and taped the battery in. But in my 3 years of heavy playtime, traveling and moving between the transfer pack and the Game Boy, the battery hasn't come loose once, so I left it alone in there. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Typically once replaced, the batteries last 5 to 7 years, so while that's not forever, it is enough time to get a solid experience in if you're economic about it. I started my Pokemon Crystal playthrough in 2017, thinking it was going to be my last time through the original Gen 2 games. After all, no other games in the Pokemon series are as impacted by the save battery running out as Gold, Silver, and Crystal. So even if you replace the save battery as I did in this copy, eventually all the save data will get wiped when that battery does inevitably die. With this in mind, when you start a cart playthrough, you're kind of making a commitment to the game for a short period of time. It's not like you can set it down and forget about it and come back to it whenever, 10 years down the line. You have enough time to finish the game and do everything there is to do, but you don't want to take long breaks with it nagging at you in the back of your mind. So when I began this save file, I wanted to do everything I had never done in the original Generation 2 games before. I wanted to catch, raise, and breed several teams of cool and strong Pokemon to beat Pokemon Stadium 2 with, and earn the special prize Pokemon. I wanted to clear the Battle Tower. I even used the Move Relearner exclusive to Stadium 2 in order to raise a Smeargle for the Battle Tower. I wanted to shiny hunt. I wanted to get Bueno's phone number. I wanted to decorate my room with a bunch of cute and rare plushes and an adorable Nintendo 64. I wanted to get rare mystery gift items like the scope lens. Hell, I even borrowed a friend's Pokemon Pikachu 2 to get my hands on a Miracle Berry. I learned how to stat experience train and made my Pokemon strong. I hunted down the rare Lucky Egg just to make raising Pokemon to level 100 easier. I unlocked all the features of Stadium 2 like the Dodrio Game Boy. Over the last 3 years, I maxed out the playtime, maxed out my money with both my mom and in my bag, and completed the entire Pokedex. I bred a shiny Snubbull with Heal Bell and then used the coin case glitch to turn it into a Celebi. I filled out the Unknown Dex, I made friends with everyone in the region of Johto and did every small side quest, devoured every piece of daily content that came my way. I even soft reset for a shiny Shucky the Shuckle, and then raised its friendship enough that the guy actually told me to keep it, which I never knew was possible as a kid. I finished the game, I beat Red, and I completed all that the game had to offer. When you play Gen 2 on a cartridge, you have a ticking clock, and whatever you do in the game will forget about it after a while, so you better make it memorable for you. That is, of course, unless you invest in save backup technology, which is pretty easy to come by now. I got this Monster Brain for $14 on Amazon, and it can hold a certain number of save backups. I don't actually know what kind of memory the Monster Brain uses, how permanent that is, but the more backups you have, the more secure your adventure is. If the battery comes loose in the cart while you're playing, making backups periodically can help preserve your journey. There's also Pokemon and item storage in Pokemon Stadium 2, so if you have access to that, you can keep your Pokemon there for safekeeping when you're done playing. But in the back of my mind, I always wondered if there was more I could do to immortalize this project once I was done. I wondered if there was a way for my trainer to travel through time with Celebi to see the new events released 20 years in the future from the hardware she was born in. So I installed the Virtual Console version of Pokemon Crystal on my 3DS. I thought through the magic of homebrewed software there might be a way to make it happen. The last piece of the puzzle was ordering this Game Boy USB smart card from retromodding.com. Now I should mention, I found out after the fact that you can just buy a Game Boy cart dumper for a lot cheaper, which can dump the SRAM of your game. But if you also happen to want a Game Boy flash cart for some reason, this is another way to do it. So after installing Pokémon Crystal Virtual Console on my 3DS, the first thing I needed to do was make a save of the game. Then I needed to open an application called Checkpoint, which if you're able to use homebrewed software on your 3DS, you probably already have. I created a backup of the save that I just made so that it would create a folder on the 3DS SD card for crystal saves. Then I loaded up my cart crystal in my Monster Brain and made a nice fresh save backup of my newly completed game. The next step is installing the Game Boy USB smart card, which strangely, according to the packaging, is only compatible with Windows 7 and Windows 8. Thankfully, I do happen to have my ancient Windows 7 desktop still sitting around that I don't use for anything, but this is really why I recommend just getting a cart dumper. Installing the drivers for this thing was the hardest part, as with anything Windows 7 related, and then once my computer recognized the device, I loaded Pokémon Crystal onto the smart card. Now that Crystal was up and running on there, I made a new save game just to be safe, and then I stuck this thing into my Monster Brain and restored the backed up save game from my actual card. It worked like a charm, and now I had a duplicate copy of my Crystal cart with the save game intact, and this one doesn't rely on a battery. Although, I also think that you probably wouldn't want to actually play Crystal this way because the clock probably wouldn't work. With everything loaded up onto the flash cart, I plugged it back into my computer and used the same program that the cart came with to dump the SRAM to a .save file. I had some concerns that the Virtual Console version wouldn't recognize a .save, but luckily for me, I'm not pioneering this method, and someone has already thought of that for me. Linked in the description is a browser-based .save converter to convert your GSC save file into a format that the Virtual Console will recognize. I'm so grateful to FM Leet for making this thing, and for whoever it was that was first attempting this process for making the tool available to others. At this point, all there was left to do was putting the newly converted save file into the correct folder on my 3DS SD card, which thankfully was really easy to find. I moved it into the Pokémon Crystal save data folder and replaced the file that was created by Checkpoint as a backup. Putting the SD card back into the 3DS, I loaded up Checkpoint and selected Restore. And voila, there she was, Tamago in all her glory with all of her Pokemon by her side in the modern age of technology. We had a blast that night streaming the Virtual Console Celebi event on my Twitch, and using a handy conversion table from Smogon to manipulate the natures of my Virtual Console Crystal Pokemon before I started moving them up to Gen 7. Oh, we just had to leave! Oh my god, it's happening. This is so cool. I've never seen this text before. Okay, so I do need to come back.
What can I do?
I need you to help me do the thing again.
The thing again?
Yeah, so hang on. Okay.
Bam.
Down and B, then release down and B, then hold these, then release select. Thank you. Oh, I hit no. I'm sorry. Can you help me again? If I just erase the time, will Kurt forget? Oh, why is it correct? This is weird.
Should it not be?
Okay. Oh my god.
Please. How does he know that? Just...
Did they fix the text wrap issue in the Virtual Console version? There was something funny about the text in this, I think. Or I might be thinking of Latios and Latios in Gen 3.
I find it funny that you're using time travel to catch the Celebi.
I know. I already have a Celebi, so canonically that's how I'm able to reset the clock.
Wait, the GS ball would fit? Is the GS ball a different size than all the other Pokeballs?
I don't know. I mean, I guess you could have put anything there. You could put a baseball there.
Or a rock?
I don't think it would.
Running?
Yeah, it wouldn't summon Celebi. So this is gonna be my normal
Level
Celebi.
30.
It'll make friends with my shiny Celebi. Okay. Well, let's use a friend ball. Let's make Celebi our friend. I
I have a video actually that explains how to get Celebi with the coin case glitch. You just have to look up my Gen 2. Wow, what the hell?
Alright.
You have to look up my Gen 2 glitches video, part 2, I think. It has Celebi in it. It's an old video and the sound's really bad, but it will explain how I did it. Oh my gosh, we caught a friend!
And of course, the ones that are able will join me in Sword and Shield as well. What's great about this is now that the save file is backed up in multiple places, I can basically reload it in whenever I want. So I can have all of my friends on every version of the game that they can be if I really want to. And this method, or really any method that allows you to extract .save data from a cartridge, will work on any Pokemon game with a Virtual Console release. I mean, I guess it probably also works on any non-Pokemon game with a Virtual Console release as well. A long time ago, a friend of mine wanted to move his childhood Pokemon friends to Generation 5 from his emulated copy of Emerald. We had to use a very complicated method of transferring the Pokemon up to Generation 4 through linking various emulation programs, and then using DNS spoofing to get the Pokemon over to his actual cart copy of Pokemon Black from the emulator's Wi-Fi room. Today, thanks to the Virtual Console, homebrew software, and many dedicated Pokemon players determined to make this stuff work, moving Pokemon across time, from physical to digital and back again, is easy peasy. The power of science is staggering.